Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something we all rely on but almost never see. We're talking about the incredible, hidden networks that bring basically everything you own right to your doorstep, from your coffee to your phone.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. Look at the device you're watching this on. Have you ever really stopped to consider its incredible journey? The story of how all these different parts from all over the globe found their way to one factory, got assembled, and then shipped out to land right in your hands?
Well, that whole journey, it's not random. It follows a map, but not a map with roads and borders you'd see in an atlas. No. This is an invisible map of global commerce. This is the supply chain network.
So, what exactly is a supply chain network? Well, the official definition sounds a little corporate, right? An interconnected system of organizations, resources, activities, and technologies. But really, all it means is it's the giant global how behind almost everything we buy and use every single day.
Okay, let's break that down because it's way simpler than it sounds. The easiest way to picture it is like a giant connect-the-dots puzzle. You've got nodes, these are the dots on the map, the actual physical places like factories or warehouses. And then you have links connecting them. These are the lines showing how goods, information, and money flow between the dots. Just remember those two words, nodes and links.
And this brings us to something people get mixed up all the time. The phrase supply chain makes you think of a straight line, right? Supplier to manufacturer to retailer. Simple. But in reality, it's not a chain at all. It's a supply chain network. It's this huge, sprawling, multi-layered web with tons of different players all working together.
All right, so let's actually trace this invisible map. We're going to start with the dots, the nodes, and we'll follow the journey of a laptop as it makes its way through the 5 most essential stops.
So it all kicks off with the suppliers. For our laptop, we're not talking about one single mine or factory. Nope, it's dozens of them, giving us raw materials like silicon and lithium. Then, all those parts travel to the manufacturers to get assembled. And get this, a single smartphone can have parts from over 70 different countries. The screen from one place, the processor from another, it's wild. Once they're built, the laptops head to warehouses for storage. Then, they're shipped off to retailers. You know, the online stores or the brick-and-mortar shops where you finally see them. And that brings us to the last, and maybe the most important node of all. You, the consumer. Your decision to buy something is what kicks this entire global engine into gear.
So, we've covered the places, right? The nodes. But a bunch of dots on a map doesn't do much. What connects them? Well, that's where the links come in. These are the absolutely vital connections that turn all these separate locations into one big functioning network. First up, you've got the most obvious one, transportation and logistics. We're talking about the ships, planes, and trucks that are physically moving all this stuff around. But just as crucial is the information flow. This is the digital nervous system. All the real-time data, the tracking, the forecasts that keep everything perfectly in sync. And finally, holding it all together, you have the financial flow. That's the constant stream of payments zipping back and forth that keeps the whole machine running.
Now, just having nodes and links, that's kind of the bare minimum. In the 21st century, that's not going to cut it. Today's supply networks have to be much more than just a path from A to B. They've got to be smart.
So what does a successful network even look like today? Well, it's not just about being cheap and fast anymore. The game has totally changed. Now a network has to be resilient, meaning it can take a punch and get back up. It has to be agile, so it can pivot on a dime when the market changes. And more, it has to be sustainable and ethical, because all of us are demanding to know more about the environmental and human cost of our products.
But, how on earth do you manage all that complexity? How do you make a network resilient, agile, and ethical? The answer, in one word, is technology. It's the brain of the whole operation, the central nervous system making it all possible.
There are a few key pieces of tech driving this whole thing. You've got huge management software suites. Think of them like the command center for a spaceship. Then you have artificial intelligence, which is getting scarily good at predicting what we're going to buy. There's the Internet of Things, or IoT, which is basically sensors on everything, giving a real-time view of where a product is and what condition it's in. And you've even got emerging tech like blockchain, which can create a super secure and transparent record of a product's entire journey.
Okay, so we've talked about the nodes, the links, the tech that makes it all hum, but let's just step back for a second and ask the really big question. Why does any of this actually matter to you?
It matters because, honestly, these networks are the hidden systems that power our entire global economy. They're the invisible architecture of our daily lives.
They bring us everything, from the food we eat to the electronics we use, right to our front door. Without them, the modern world as we know it, well, it just wouldn't work.
We've seen how this giant interconnected web is a marvel of efficiency. It's incredible. But all of that complexity, that global interconnectedness, it has a flip side. It creates a vulnerability. And that leaves us with one last really critical question to think about. In a system this huge and complex, what happens when just a single link breaks?